Right, stand by. Roll sound.
Speed.
Roll camera.
Speeding.
Slate.
Scene 1, take 1, mark.
And action. Hey everybody, how you doing? Here we are, Burnie's Applebox, Friday at 2 p.m. and I am here with William Hellmuth. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
All right, it's that bald head that makes me want to treat you like a football player. You know that? I love it. I love it. Let me just introduce William to you for a second. William is someone who I haven't known for a long time. Most of my guests are people that I've been in business with for 20 plus years. William was somebody who looked me up and contacted me. And about, I don't know, what year ago, maybe a year and a half, was it even that long?
Like that.
Something like that. So William was out networking like a good freelancer should be. And I hooked in with William, really liked him, really liked what he did. That was probably the most impressive thing when he showed me some of the stuff you had done. And as you know, and William's a member here, I've got Onset University. And William was somebody who is just the type of person that I'm trying to talk to all the time. He was somebody who's talented, not new into the business, but starting in the first quarter, let's say, in the business, and was working really hard at it. And I thought, what better guest could I have than William, who represents the demographic that I want to talk to right here? And so thank you again, William, for being on.
Absolutely.
Now, we've worked together, and I really love working with William for one simple reason. He cares about the look, and it's that simple. You know, when you know that, William, when you're working for somebody or something, if they care about the quality that you want, it makes it much easier for you to work, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you work with some people, and they do want to just kind of, I don't know, they just want to get it done, make the day, you know.
The producers want to go home worse than the crew does.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Or like they have their way of doing things. Like, well, this is how it's always been done. So, so this is how we have to do it. And it does make a huge difference when you work with people who aren't necessarily, they're not trying to always reinvent the wheel. You know, like they know, like of course there's a right way to do things, but also. I mean, something I always try to do is just think like, well, what's just like something a little different I can do, you know, on this shoot, even though I've done, this is like the, you know, 5th one I've done in like a month, you know. You just
and you're doing a lot the same. I think that's the thing with this business is a lot of times you're taking the same formula and you're trying to tweak it or trying to make it look good or trying to do it a little better. That makes a big difference in what you're doing, and you really have to challenge yourself to be more creative.
Yeah, it's not easy. I mean, I think like when I first started DPing and working on projects, I kind of had this idea that, you know, the director like would approach me, or if I was DPing and directing and talk to the producer or someone, and there would be kind of like this clear vision in place of, you know, this is exactly what we want something to look like. Here's some reference images and all that kind of stuff. And I've learned that that's sort of that's pretty rare.
A bit of a rarity, isn't it? Yeah.
So if you want to like cook something up different as a DP, you just kind of have to do that on your own, and it helps a lot. If you have, I mean, for me, it helps. It gives me freedom to experiment more if I'm working with, you know, if I have like a gaffer or something like that I'm working with who's experienced and can kind of take some of my, who maybe has some practical experience in something that I only have like theoretical knowledge about, you know? Like I might theoretically know, you know, well, if I bounce a light from over there, it should kind of look like this, but if I've never done that on a set, you know, like.
And the gaffer comes in, he's probably done it on a few sets or has done something similar to what you're thinking.
Exactly.
But, you know, that, and first of all, forgive me because I did not get your title correct. You're director, DP, or tell me your title.
Right. So I'm a DP, and I am able to direct.
Yeah.
But I mean, what I've been working as for the last 2 years is a DP.
You sell yourself as a DP.
Yeah, I've been in the industry for about 10 years. only 2 of those 10 years as a freelancer, though. I worked for 8 years at a production company,
Okay.
shooting national park videos.
Okay.
Where I shot, edited, and wrote, and just kind of did everything. That was great. It was fun. I really liked it. It was a small company, though, and I realized, all of the best work out there was freelance.
Yeah.
So my last 3 years at that company, I started freelancing in addition to working there.
Okay.
I had a full-time job, and my wife and I had a baby, and so, she stayed at home. So to kind of make ends meet, I was having this full-time job and doing all this freelancing, and I needed the freelancing to pay the bills. So
Of course.
So I started experiencing, before I even quit the full-time job, that slump, that like freelancer anxiety of, oh no work is coming, how am I going to pay the bills? But I was also tied down to this full-time job, so it's
Right.
like all of the downsides of freelancing without any of the
Without any of the
advantages.
big benefits. Yeah.
Anyway, so that's when, and I also started realizing all this freelance stuff I'm getting is way more exciting than,
It's a real, like it's almost like pick up the phone, it's a lottery call or something. You don't know what you're going to get or where you're going to be.
I wanted to do that, and so that's when I quit my old job and
Okay.
just started,
Okay.
I just kind of dove into freelancing. I didn't realize when I first started working as a freelancer all the time, full-time, I didn't realize that I was going to be a DP. I'd done everything, but, the 8 years prior, what I'd really focused a lot of my time and energy on and studying was directing, how to work with actors and work with the crew and all that kind of stuff.
Because those are the type of shit you were doing. You
Yeah.
were doing people visiting the park,
Yeah.
that type of thing.
And a lot of the freelance projects I was working on, well, not a lot. Some of them would be as a director, but then I'd also be making a lot of my own independent short films and playing in festivals and stuff like that.
Sure.
So I really considered myself more of a director.
Okay.
So when I quit that job, I thought, well, do I want to try to pitch myself as a director?
Right.
Or do I want to I have all this experience shooting and editing and all this kind of stuff. So anyway, I didn't really know, but it took me really only a couple months to realize, if I could just show up on set and shoot and then walk away and be done, then I would be
That's
super
magic.
happy. Yeah.
Especially after working 8 years and being in charge of the whole project from beginning, middle,
and as
end.
director, you're involved in everything. You know, and I don't want to do that on every job.
No.
I only want to do that when I really, really want to do it. So-
That is a very, very, I think, succinct point, because here's the thing, and this is where I got a little lucky maybe in my career too. You have to decide what position your personality fits.
Right.
And I learned pretty early on, because I did produce a couple things, even when I was just almost still a PA. You know what I mean? I had enough business smarts to go in and see a project and be able to pull it off. But the thing that I found out was I didn't want to stay with a project for a week, for 2 weeks, for 3 weeks. I wanted to go there, have my day, and leave.
Yep.
And I was much better off, much more effective when I did that. And I think you saw the same thing.
Absolutely, yeah. And, there are the exceptions, of course. So there's a special, passion project, or it's just something
Of
that I
course.
really believe in. But, that's, everybody has those.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I found working as a DP was just where I felt the most creative freedom on set, because there is pressure, but it's not the ssame pressure as being a director.
Right. No, that's some real pressure.
Yeah. And I also found that all the years I spent studying directing, visual storytelling, and working with a cast and a crew served me very well as a DP.
Well, I think really, and a previous guest too, Paul Magetti, almost had the same sort of introduction. Like, he worked for a place for 5 years and then went out on his own. He went more into producing, but he had done everything at the job. I think that's a really, That's a pretty solid formula. It's almost like taking that graduate class, you know what I mean, in college where you're actually in charge of the productions. You need to you need to take care of a budget. You have deadlines. You're going to run into every possible production problem there is every day. You know.
Yeah, and you learn to see a production, whatever project you're working on as a whole.
Yes.
And not just like I've known some people who, you know, when they first went into film school or something, they decided they wanted to be a DP, and some of them, you know, they get really focused on just this one role, you know, and I mean the guys who stick with it long enough, they kind of come out of that mentality eventually. You know, that's fine, but I find we can get really myopic with like these roles that we have, you know, where we see being a DP as like
you
the,
see
the
it
most
only
important,
from your point of view.
And for me, working as a director, having experience trying to collaborate with DPs and stuff like that, as a DP, talking to directors now, I can kind of like put myself in their shoes a little bit more easily. That's kind of nice. The same with actors too, and I can. I know when something I'm going to do is going to maybe throw off talent or something like that. I can try to light a set in a way that's conducive to good
and then too, I mean, and this is a big part of a director job, working with non-actors.
Exactly.
That's a whole, you know, if you've got an actor, it's almost like a luxury, right? Even if they're bad.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, most of my work, I guess, actually isn't even with actors. So.
Yeah, it's with non-actors, but talent.
Yeah, talent,
you know. You know, that's very, very well put. I think that you spoke of the myopic point of view. I have to always battle that a little bit, you know, because where I go in my business is I'm talking to a line producer first who has talked to the DP. She's gotten a list. Now I've got the list. I priced the list out. I'm hired as the gaffer, number one, so I am going to be discussing the shots with the DP. But then I'm with a line producer on the financial side of it. So I am constantly sort of being put in this my own point of view place that isn't even normal for a regular gaffer, say, that is not renting them the equipment. He doesn't have to get involved in that.
Right.
You know, so I have to really focus. When I'm on set, I have to remember, okay, I'm not the equipment owner.
Yeah.
I am not the, you know, of course you never forget it, but I mean, I'm not the equipment. That's not my job today. My job is to gaff this shoot. And I'll tell you, getting thrown off of that can be quite disconcerting, and it can slow the project down too.
Yeah.
You know, so I think really taking those points of view and always trying to understand where the director's at. That's the one thing I've got my ears open all the time.
Yep.
Am I looking at him? Is during the take, can I tell he's a little uptight, you know what I mean? Or is he happy? Is he getting it? And then I know, okay, we're doing something well.
Yeah.
It's funny, but and maybe this isn't even a good thing to say. A lot of times I've got a crew working, I'm with the DP, we're looking at the monitor, we're doing it. I'm almost not worried about executing the lighting. Executing the lighting, you know what I mean? That's what I'm ready for.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's all the other stuff you're not ready for.
Yeah.
You know.
That's
so
true.
you see that, and I'm sure that's been a big part of your learning experience. Just in the fact that you have to focus on what you're doing, but looking at the bigger picture. And that was probably something that you got working for the company you did before.
Right. I mean, I guess I've always had my eye on the big picture.
Yeah.
You know, just because.
Yeah.
Before working as a DP, that's mostly what I was doing, just directing and just doing everything. So, sorry, I'm losing track of the question here.
Oh, well, here on Burnie's Applebox, we like to say we have a discussion, no question. No, just that very thing that you learned in that former workplace, which is a job, you're an employee. You learned all those things that made you a better freelancer, and being a better freelancer is what you want to do.
Exactly.
And I think you said something very interesting, because the jump from that, the jump from being in an employed situation to being a freelancer, it's not just about finding jobs, but there's a separate freelancer mentality, you know, that goes along with, hey, and a lot of times guys don't realize this at the beginning. I'm on fire right now. I've just worked almost every day for 6 weeks, you know.
Yeah.
What you haven't seen yet is when you don't work any of the days for 6 weeks. And, you know, your whole mind, as I'm sure you know very well, you know what I mean? Especially if you're the lone breadwinner in the family,
Right.
you know what I mean? You're thinking, hey, we got to take this $800 and go to Costco because I
Right.
want to make sure we have 2 months worth of food in the
Right.
house, you know.
Get
And
a lot of rice and
$800 is
beans.
cheap. Yeah, I know. A single, you know, me and my wife, we can get away with $800.
Right.
You're probably like $1,600.
Oh, man.
But it's really important, that mentality. And how did you feel like switching that mentality? How long did you say it took you to come in and really become a freelancer mentally?
Yeah, I mean, well, I had mentioned before that, you know, I'd already kind of been enjoying the downsides of freelancing without any of the benefits because I already kind of needed that income.
Right.
So, you know, a big part for me, like my wife was super supportive, you know, when I first started talking with her about it. She was just like, well, yeah, let's, you know, think about it and pray about it and we'll just kind of see. And yeah, so we just kind of started doing that and we both just decided, yeah, this seems like the best move. And she's still super supportive and all on board. And she has a part-time job now, so it's not like 100% up to me, which is nice.
A little safety net in there.
Just a little something. But the jump was like, I thought it would be bigger than it was, I guess.
Okay.
Like, because I was already experiencing such an up and down because I was already essentially working 2 jobs before I quit my old job.
Yeah.
So now I was having the same kind of like plentiful months and, you know, non-plentiful months.
Right.
And but now I had more time at home with my kids. I quit my job while we were pregnant with our second child, so that was, you know, fun.
Good timing.
Sink or swim.
Good timing.
I know. Well, but you know, what I also realized was that, you know, everyone says, oh, if you go freelance, you're just going to be super poor for at least 2 years, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I did realize that the longer I waited, I have 2 girls, when they're like 1 or 4 or even 7, they're not going to care about being poor for a couple of years.
Oh, no.
They'll never know.
Hey, I was good with being poor till I was 10.
I know, right? I was good with being poor till I was 30. No,
I'm still poor, actually.
Anyway, but
you're
but if I
right.
quit
No,
while
that's
they
a
were
very good
teenagers,
point.
they
Very
would
good
care.
point.
So you know, it's only going to get harder the longer I waited. So we figured we would just go for it, my wife and I. So for me, the biggest adjustment was honestly more like on the personal, just like family life, and you know, because you're really used to like leaving, going to work for a day, and then you come home at the end of the day, and you get into this rhythm.
Yes.
And so, you know, my wife and I were just like, well, we gotta figure out this rhythm now. You know, this is totally different. So, but I mean,
and it is radically different, especially where you're concerned and where that freelance life is. I know, I was married for the first time in my life at 62 years old. And it would probably have been sooner, but I had spent the last 20 years before that in freelance. And it's literally, there's no schedule. You know, if you're want to go out with somebody, you make a date for Saturday night. Well, somebody calls with an out-of-town Friday, Saturday, Sunday job, or even a Friday, Saturday, Sunday job, even if it's in town. You know, you're not going to plan on going on the date that night. Like, I'll be home at 6. You don't know when you're going to be home.
Right. Yeah.
So that's a big thing for the family to adjust to. How did you guys do it? What did you? I know your wife's very supportive, but how did you pull it off?
Communication.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit of trial and error, obviously, but communication. That's the biggie. Just trying to, like, at the beginning of each day, you know, we just have a little powwow, you know, what's the plan? Even if we talked about it maybe a couple days before, like she knows I have a shoot or something like that, but we just discuss the plan. And I'll say, you know, they say we're supposed to wrap crew out at 5, but, you know, don't expect me home till 8 maybe.
Right.
You know, like just, you know,
because
don't
that's the
wait
truth.
for me.
If they say 5, that's their best wish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they don't know it's going to be 5, and it turns into 6. Then you know you're breaking down. Who knows what that entails? You know?
Yeah. Things can go wrong. You know, like it's So yeah, really, it sounds really simple, but just trying to communicate as often and as clearly as possible, and that's helped a lot. And then with my kids, just trying to, when I'm not on set, there's a temptation to panic and get scared.
Yeah.
Oh, am I done? Have people finally figured out that I'm a fraud?
Yeah. Oh. The fraud complex.
I know, right?
Yeah. The fraud
but,
complex.
There's always a temptation to kind of be a little bit scared, nervous, like, is this it? Did I?
Oh, we're a
finish?
very, very
Yeah.
insecure people in an insecure occupation.
Yeah. But even after only doing this for just, even before my first year was up, I realized that the work 100% of the time always comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just have to wait, so I may as well enjoy the time off with my kids and with my family. Like, hey, let's go to Disneyland, or let's go do something fun.
Really, it's the best advice.
Yeah.
Enjoy the days off. One thing that I always remind people of, and myself as well, is you may be off. It may be a day that you're not on set.
Yeah.
It's still a work day.
You're still working.
It's
Absolutely.
still a work day, and you better pick up the phone and call. And to this very day, I have trouble with that, because we get used to somebody calling us so much.
Yep.
We forget it works both ways.
Yep.
You need to pick up the phone and just light contact with the
Sure.
client. It's not a hard pitch. It's not like, hey, do you have any work? It's just like, what's going on? They know why you're calling. You want to work again.
Yep.
So it's doing that, but being consistent at that is the thing.
And that's something I've been doing this summer. I found I just finished a project that I've been editing for the last 2 years. So that had taken up pretty much all the time between shoots.
Yeah.
I finished it like a month ago. So now I have gaps between shoots where I don't have this immediate job to do. So I've been taking that time now. I literally just Google, companies or whatever, call them up, and and I go in and I meet with people, and it's great.
Networking is so important, and I know you do a very good job of that too.
Do my best.
Yeah. Hey, so we're going to go take a little break right now, and we'll be right back at Burnie's Applebox. Hi, I'm Burnie. I own Burnie's Grip and Lighting, San Diego Grip and Lighting, and Los Angeles Grip and Lighting. We pride ourselves on not only renting you the best equipment, but also giving you the best crews. And one of our core values here at Burnie's Grip and Lighting is that we give you the highest production value in the world. And remember, people used to say national, local. No. We present world-class production value on every set. We also know budgets are very tight these days, and you've got 10 hours to get what you need in the can. We move ahead, we move fast, and we know what you need. When you rent from Burnie's Grip and Lighting, you have a partner on your production for that day that is making sure you are well taken care of. So anytime you're in Southern California, give us a call at 714-609-3545, and we'll take very good care of you. See you on set. Hey everybody, back here with William Hellmuth, DP extraordinaire. And we were just talking before the break about networking. Tell me, because here's one thing that I think is really important. Most people that I have found, because I'm in a position where people should be networking with me and want to network with me, because I've got the rental company, I'm getting jobs all the time, grips, electrics, gaffers, I throw them out on jobs. They always say the same thing to me. I go, stay in touch. And they always go, I don't want to bug you. I don't want to bother you, and it's a legitimate fear. I remember having it before I had a company or anything like that. I thought, oh, if I'm calling the guy all the time, once he goes, no, I'll call you when I got some. You're always afraid of that. Tell me your techniques on networking or just some of the things you do.
Well, one of the things I learned is not be too strategic about it, because you never know who's going to hook you up with the job or anything like that. And for me personally,
and give me an example of that.
Okay, yeah, sure. So let's see. A good example is, well, I guess this isn't quite networking, But it was a guy who I found out like the day before he really needed some help on a shoot. And, he just needed basically someone to come out and just kind of grip for him.
Yeah.
And I called him up and I said, yeah, I'll do it. I'm not doing anything tomorrow.
Sure.
And so I went out there, shot with him, and while we were setting up, I started talking with him about, lighting and stuff like that. And it turns out I found out he just actually wasn't super confident about lighting at all. So I just said, well, hey, you cool just like letting me light this? And basically he just ended up letting me take over as DP, which was above what the pay grade at the time. However, this guy ended up being a great contact and ended up doing some other gigs that were like higher pay, higher end, stuff like that. And hired me to DP. And I hired him to come in and cam up for me and some other things. It ended up being this really valuable connection.
That's
and
awesome.
That's not, I wasn't going into it looking for that.
Yeah.
But that's just how it
A good
turned out.
example, a very good example of where the networking takes you,
Yeah.
I would say. And I've had similar things as well, where you're going on one job, but you meet somebody else on set. And they've got a bigger production going on somewhere else, and they like you, and they bring you into it. You can never tell, and that's why it's so. Sometimes you have to say no. I have to say no more often than I did now than I did when I started out. But that hurts you too. You know what I mean? That hurts you when you say no and you don't take sometimes the job that is below your grade or your pay or whatever, because it's always another opportunity to network on set.
You just got to know when it takes judgment, you know, knowing when you're being taken advantage of and when you're just a guy just needs help, And for me, if
Very
I'm
good
able,
point.
just, I'll always help someone out if I can.
Yeah.
And another thing about networking for me is like, I realized, I needed to not worry about being like a smooth talker or a smooth, because there's this picture in my head before of like, oh, networking is the guy who just kind of like struts around, and is super confident,
I believe I can help you with your situation here.
And I'm just not like a super like smooth talking like schmoozer,
No. Which is the reason why networking works for you, by the way. Yeah.
So, for me, like, I try to find people who I just think seem like good people, and that's like with you when I first kind of looked you up, and I was on a job where like we rented a van from you and returned it here to you late at night.
Yes.
And I just remember meeting you and thinking, well, he seems like a nice guy. And then, I think it was like 6 months later, something like that, when you saved us on another job.
Yeah.
And so, because I was just like, hey, well, there's a guy here in Orange County.
Yeah.
Because we were missing a light that we were supposed to
have. Yes, I remember when Taylor. That's where I met Taylor.
Came in. Yeah. So we, and that's where I told him, like, well, I know this guy, Burnie. I looked you up on my phone.
Yeah.
Gave you a call, and yeah. So I mean, as a DP, like, I mean, there's not like a ton of. I don't I don't see a gaffer as like someone who's gonna like hire me, but just I see like this. I could tell, like, well, Burnie just seems like a good guy and a good guy to know and someone I want to work with. So I'm just going to, like, come and, like, hang out here for a little bit, just kind of get to know him. And so, there's no real agenda. Just kind of get to know people.
There shouldn't be an agenda. There shouldn't be an agenda.
Exactly.
It's a networking in the network. Like, and it's always like the 6 degrees of separation, right?
Yep.
You may be 3 or 4 degrees away, but when you hook in with me and I know you've just wiped out 3 of those separation points. Because I've been 20 years in the business down here and know a lot of people. And I've actually thrown your name out, to people to use it. It hasn't worked out yet. But that almost doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know what
it
I mean?
doesn't.
As long as you're networking in that circle.
Well, kind of what I've made my goal, this year, what I've been focusing on is just deciding I want to know as many people in the production industry, and I'm focusing on Orange County right now.
Sure.
Just trying to meet every Orange County.
Wisely.
Every Orange County producer, director, agency, production company.
Yeah.
I'm calling them up. I'm just trying to get out there. I just want to know all of them. Like maybe they don't need to hire DPs. That's fine. But I want to be the guy that if someone contacts me and says, hey, do you know a sound guy, or do you know someone who has this type of like
that's a big
setup,
part of
I can just like say, oh yeah, of course, here you go, and like that's I just want to know people.
No, that's smart. That's the way to do it. That's what. And it's funny, you say something. we're here. You dropped off a van when you first took note of me or said, oh, this guy's got something going on here.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because I've been in Orange County for 20 years. I pride myself of being, you know, the most annoying social media person I know personally. But I always try to get the word out. I have always throughout my career, I've bought the ad. You know what I mean? I've done the things. I've handed the cards out. I've gone to the events, all that. Yet you don't know how many people after 20 years who goes, why haven't we ever heard of you before?
Yeah, right?
Why do we? And I keep going, where do these people live? I'll go over and give them a gift at their house. Where, you know, but it somehow it always feels to me like I am not breaking the ice. You know what I mean? I am not getting. So I think you can't do too much almost.
No.
You know, it's really, really that big. And you know, we are the type of business where the producer, they are not shooting every day on set. You know, they shoot once, they go into post, they come back out. So maybe they get, let's say they're really prolific, you know what I mean? And they have 30 shoots a year. That's still with big, wide breaks in there. And then the people that they use are, other people that they use are busy and stuff. But they stay with a small group because it's easier to call them first. That small group usually refers someone to them, a friend or obviously somebody who knows how to do the job. You know, so it really, you can never stop that networking.
No. And something I've learned too is, this is the final sort of thing, is, well, I mean, networking always scared me too because I grew up really shy. Like it just, I hated talking to people, you know.
It's horrible,
you push through it, and I actually really enjoy it now. I love meeting new people. It's fun. But the kind of the final thing is something I decided to do when I started freelancing, and I kept up doing to this day, is if anyone ever says, hey, William, you know, we should grab lunch sometime, or, you know, like, call me up. We'll grab a drink. I will 100% of the time hound them until until I take them up on that.
So great, dude. There's a good. Let's go over that again because that's a great piece of advice. So you take it, and if somebody says, hey, let's make a date, because we all do that.
Everyone says
hey,
it.
maybe we'll go out to lunch next week.
Yeah.
And then you flip around, because I think
I
you
did
did
that
with me. Yeah. Then you flip around, and I'm thinking, I said I was going to have lunch sometime this week. I'll see when I'm free or whatever. If I got nothing to do around 11:30, maybe I'll call up and do whatever. But you call me and you go, hey, how about next Wednesday at 11:30, right? And boom, then we're on. Then we got an appointment.
Yeah.
Very smart.
Well,
That's a
then
very
you
good
actually know
tip.
someone. But this, if you're watching this out there, just be careful about inviting me to anything, because
I
will
go.
find you.
Yeah, you will go.
That's right.
That's great. That's great. No, and you should invite William. Make him pay.
I'm not gonna
make him pay. That's the kicker, right there.
Yeah, Burnie learned that lesson.
I learned that first. I learned that a long time ago, actually. No, that's great. And look, let's we've talked about it. Let's take a look at your reel here. Sean, is that? Can we go with that reel? Okay. Let me just say this now before we start. He does have some music on it. If for some reason we get kicked off by Facebook, we will restart the stream on this channel, but it'll be right there. So just, you know, hang in and you'll come back to us. It'll be a different stream though if it happens. Hopefully it won't. But let's take a look and see what goes on.
Cross the fingers.
That was awesome. That was awesome. Good job, my man.
Thank you.
And I noticed, and you said this just before we came back, it goes, it's a little short. You know what? Short is good.
Oh, yes.
Short is good, my
agree.
friend. You don't know how many times I've been standing there with a DP or somebody, and they're showing me the reel, and 3 minutes go by, and I'm going, you know, which arm do I chew off to get out of here? You know, it's maddening when you feel like you're stuck there and you have to do it. But short is easy. Those were beautiful shots.
Thank you.
I'd like to see that again, and Sean is going to try to pause it when I ask him to, but we'll do picture in picture, and let's go through, just tell me about a couple of these shots here.
Sure.
Whenever you're ready, Sean. Great.
So there is like a fair amount of just natural light photography.
Now right here, can you pause that, Sean? Right there.
That first shot is on something I directed, a short film years ago, and that was just natural light. This one here is on a music video I just did this summer. Again, that's just sun as a backlight, bouncing some light back onto her.
Yeah, really effective.
Yeah,
really
you know, I
nice.
mean, natural light, I'm not really a believer in trying to change.
Don't try to overdo it.
You know, like I like to walk outside, see what's happening with the light, and just embrace it, you know. And
when you have the big source up there, you know what I mean? That's the one you want to use.
Like I said, like the first 8 years of my career, we're shooting in national parks using only available light.
So this is natural for you.
Yeah. So, you know, it doesn't really intimidate me.
Yeah,
So
no, that's great.
it's fun.
Let's take a look at a little more.
So this is some of the shoots here with this company called Life Together.
Yeah, hold on,
we
hold
can
this
pause
right
that.
here.
Okay,
Well,
so
that's not a good.
maybe
Go
scrub
ahead,
back just a little.
scrub back a little bit.
Yeah, okay, there we go. That's something.
Great.
So this is so Life Together, they're a company, and we've done some
we've
of these
worked
shoots
together on those. Yeah,
they do like they create video curriculum for churches, doing for like small in-home meetings and stuff like that. So some of the stuff I've done with them is we create like little like worship band music videos with church worship teams. And those are super fun because they let me get pretty creative.
Right.
So so this shot and the several before it were some pretty fun ones where I was able to experiment with. Well, it's not really experimenting, but it's the same.
but you're able
it's the
to be
same
creative.
basic lighting setup for all three of these shots, which is a big 12 by silk, you know, nice big soft overhead light.
Yeah.
But all I'm doing is between those three shots is I'm changing my like hard light backlight, like the intensity of that, and I'm also changing up white balance in my camera to sort of. I don't know, just it just gives it different flavors.
Yeah,
so,
no.
Anyway, yeah, it's fun.
And you know what is nice working with these people, Life Together, and Taylor and Brett and everybody is they allow that creativity.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
that is the most wonderful thing.
Yeah, and especially after I mean, I've worked with them a lot. Just this year, January and February, I was on a shoot for them just about every week.
Wow, that's incredible. That's
both
incredible.
those months. Yeah. And when you build that kind of relationship with people, it's nice because I know them, you know, they know me, they trust me.
You know the workflow, you know the personalities,
and so
you know the
I kind of know
expectations.
about how far I can push it visually with them. And I'm actually pretty surprised with like some of the
No,
stuff
they're
they let me
very,
do.
I mean, well, here's the other thing. They care, and this separates the two sides.
Yeah.
They care about what's in
about
front
quality.
of the camera.
Yeah.
You know, and that makes a difference.
Yep.
Let's see a little bit more, Sean.
Yeah, it's the same outdoor music video here. That's just smoke bombs and natural light.
Oh, now this
This
one.
is Life
take a look
Together
here.
too. Yeah.
Let's go back
Scroll
a little
back
bit
a couple shots
to
here.
that individual at this, and even farther back to that scene just before.
The scene, the shot right. Yeah, there we go.
That one. Yeah, that's really nice.
Cool. Thank you.
That's really nice. I really like that. Now tell me. Did you use natural? Was that natural? Or did you blow something through the curtains?
So we had a 4x4 softbox that. Okay. So we shot this in Toronto.
Okay.
And the gaffer we had out there had a homemade 4x4 softbox that he had built, this bicolor. So this is just, we bounced it at 3200 and had I believe a 350 tungsten just behind him, and that was it. Just those two lights in a coffee shop. All the practicals were off.
So this was a coffee shop. This was a public facility.
Yeah, well, they were closed.
Yeah,
but
but that's the size of the room, or
yeah, it was a small
Interesting.
space, but it ended up being one of our favorite setups.
No fill.
No fill. I don't usually like using fill. I really love contrast.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
I know, you know that. Yeah, I mean, this is just a 2-light setup, and
it's beautiful. And you know what? That's so much about where I'm at these days. It's using less. Yeah. It's using less. that's really, I think the cameras are in the place and everything is right there for you to go very natural. But now, some of my clients, this would be too dramatic for.
Absolutely, yeah. You have to know. You have to know your client and your audience and what you can.
Yeah, and I noticed, and this is a choice I know, but and this is probably the gaffer coming out on me or whatever. I'm impressed in the fact that you didn't try to put any light in the background.
Right.
I'm very impressed with that because that's the biggest temptation.
Yeah, I mean, what I found I liked in this spot is that this is actually from the lens, but on the upper right corner of the frame, we're getting a little bit of a flare.
Oh, I see it
from that backlight.
Yeah,
but I actually like it, and I thought it gave the background a little bit of texture. So that was kind of a fun. So fun thing to do. I realized I didn't really need anything back there. Just
no,
it's about him.
It really works effectively. It's very natural. Yeah, let's take a look at it a little more, Sean.
Let's see here. So we got this. This is just a fun little winery video.
So go back to the lady in front of the wine racks if you can. Yeah, there. Can you go to the one just before that? Oh no, I guess I thought she was. We had a little wider shot.
Yeah, there's a wide shot in there before this one, but you may not be able to. You may have to. There you go.
Yeah, there it is. There it is. Thanks.
Yeah, this was actually a lot of lights.
So now you're in the wine cellar. You're using some lights down there.
Yeah, I did a little BTS video on like the Instagram stories thing.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, where I was literally running around trying to show all of the lights I had in the frame. But
and those barrels, I know I did a lot of stuff up in Napa too.
Yep.
Those barrels are they're fun to light.
Gorgeous.
You have to have that raise, but usually the depth of those, and if you can get light way back there, with that, it's very dramatic.
Big barrel room that was lit with these really ugly fluorescents that I couldn't turn off. So I found the one corner where there weren't overhead fluorescents, or there weren't that many.
Okay.
And there was no light on that like aisle of barrels.
Those barrels.
So I saw that and I chose that as the background because I knew I could light it. Yeah. I had these little battery powered LED light wands, bicolor, and I could just hide them in the cracks.
You showed me those. Yeah. No, that's great.
Yeah,
that's
it worked
great.
out.
And too, that does bring up a point too, is that a lot of times, here's my thing. I'm not a grip and lighting company, but I have 3-ton grip trucks, and I got a lot of gear in the background. And I'm sending crews out without myself the majority of the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have to get items, equipment that the clients know and understand, plus the durability factor.
Yep.
And then something that is a sort of an industry standard, you know.
Yeah.
But however, you're not encumbered with that, so you have the liberty of going out and finding these cool little things that you can just bring out and try, like those sticks, and I was very impressed with them.
They're just these little like $75 light wands, and I buy them, not to rent them out, I just take them with me on every single shoot, and I use them on almost
because
every single shoot.
Because you need a background lit or whatever.
Just a little splash here or there or something, or maybe a quick backlight for an interview or something, just really handy, but I mean, they're cheap plastic, I'm not going to rent them out. They're
going to be crushed.
Yeah, but they're just my personal, to do things like this with the background.
Let's take a little more of a look, Sean.
Let's see. So we got this. This is just me, all natural light, no lights there. Just little music video I shot. This is a one light setup. This is a short film I shot. Actually, this was these shots here were all lit entirely with those light wands.
Okay.
Except for these black and white ones. So, and that's basically.
No, that's really nice looking stuff. I like your choices. I do like your choices. Thanks. Yeah, I think it shows a good variety and it's very simple. It's not complicated. Yeah, that's very good. You know what? We're going to take another little break right here, I think, and we will be right back.
Burnie's workshop is fantastic. Burnie's workshop is awesome. Burnie's workshop is insightful.
Burnie, in one word, passionate maybe. You can tell he really cares a lot.
Burnie is a badass.
He's a great teacher. He has great stories, and I would recommend this to anyone. Not only someone like me who's starting day one, but I feel that in any profession, as you sharpen your sword, it always gets sharper.
I think the best thing about this is the access to understanding how to
run your business, how to actually be in this filmmaking industry and make money at it. Coming to this workshop, I think, is what actually gets you the tools to understand how to do that, how to get out there and sell yourself.
I thought that was really cool. I thought, he knows all the tricks in the book, and he knows how to show that to us and actually demonstrate it so we actually know what he's talking about.
I really like the hands-on experience. That's something that you don't find a lot. That's something you have to go on set a lot to just appreciate.
I know this is lighting seminar, but it's not only talk about lightings. He also share his business experience, personal experience, and guide us to what we should do, what kind of personality we should have in this business.
His stories, I think that kind of say everything, all in a few example stories that he gives out from time to time.
I would recommend this workshop to anybody who just spread into the industry, people who just don't know the swing of it. A lot of the stuff they don't teach you in film school.
I deal with a lot of freelancers every day, a lot of peers that I went to school with, a lot of professionals in the field, and they all need to take this class because it puts you on the next level, on the next playing field.
Burnie's a great guy. Burnie's really authentic. Like everything he learns, everything he teaches, the way he handles himself, the way he deals with other people, he's a one-of-a-kind guy. Someone I've never come across before in the industry, and someone I hope to emulate and hope that there are more people like him out there that can help.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Back at Burnie's Applebox with William Hellmuth, and we just took a look at his reel. And you know, William, just watch that. We're going to see some more stuff that you did. We're going to show some more of that. But you know, one thing that I was thinking about, first of all, I told you about, you know, the excruciatingly long reel, you know, shots that sometimes, you know, it goes out with the reel. The other thing that I have been thinking about lately, and this comes from a guy who's never made a reel, so take it from there, is, you know what, all of these shots, just like you showed us there, and the ones that are longer, they're very impressive. And you know that the DP is going to go through and pick out the best stuff he has access to, because you don't have access to everything you shoot.
Right.
But I began thinking about what is more important on set. Certainly you know that the DP knows his stuff and how to get it. And you can show that in a few short clips that person is very knowledgeable about look, just by the clips that they selected.
Right.
You know what I mean? They have the taste. They can get it.
Yep.
What I started thinking was missing in most DP's reels, and no one does this that I know of, but is an interview with the DP interspersed with these pieces that talks about his philosophy, his philosophy of the look. I find that might be more reassuring and maybe even make a better connection with the client and the person that's seeing it.
I've thought of doing that. I've thought of sit down and shooting an interview with myself, you know, like either, I mean, so that you could just watch my reel, but then maybe you go to another part of my website and right beneath that it's, you know, a little intro to me. Yeah, I mean, I've encountered a couple that do that.
Okay, I have not seen one.
And you know, and I've heard, you know, DPs talking about this before too, and there are mixed feelings about it. Some people think it seems like kind of pretentious, you know. Some people think it seems, like I don't know, like
too self-promoting.
Yeah. But at the same time, like. Yeah, it does seem to make sense. Just a little like, hey, this is who I am.
Well,
kind
think
of video.
about this, and I know you've heard this phrase before. You know what I mean? It's you're on set with people you want to spend 10 hours with, right?
Yeah.
And the same philosophy goes for the DP, and I think it's more important for the DP because look, he's the only other person with director on his name on set.
Right.
That's one thing. Two is whether they know it or not, they're a department head.
Right.
You know what I mean? That is what they are.
Yeah.
As a department head, if you're a producer and you're looking at that, say, look, I want somebody who appeals to me. Yeah. You know, and I think that's a good opportunity to do that. He seems like a nice guy. He seems like a smart person. Yeah. You know, man or woman. You know what I mean? Obviously. And then to hear a little bit of philosophy about the look, and you kind of convince them that you understand it more. Because a lot of times I know, this is my old joke, is that a reel is there only to convince the client you can't do their shoot.
Right.
You know what I mean? In other words, if you take a beautiful pictures of in the right light of a horse running across a field, that producer will turn to the executive producer and go, but we're doing cows.
Right.
You know what I mean? They'll never get the two. You know what I mean?
Right,
They'll never
yeah.
put one and one together.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of a different believer on this. I think it should be more self-promoting, but that's just my 2 cents.
Interesting. I mean, no, that's an interesting idea. It is. Yeah.
But you got some more stuff, so we're going to take a look at it. I think do you know what we're going to look at right now?
Yeah, I think first we're going to show this little, so this is a video that I shot for a company called Room, and it's just it's a real estate video actually promoting a winery that was for sale. And it was a lot of fun. So I got to go up there, me and this guy Greg, we just kind of like shot and kind of gripped and gaffed the whole thing ourselves. So this was just with natural light, a diffused sunlight coming up from her right and bounced it back on her. Looking back, I wish I had either used less fill or maybe some lighter. I didn't have any lighter diffusion available to me.
Okay.
But it looked a little unnatural. It
looked
good,
yeah.
but it didn't look very,
I know,
like
where
that.
you want to match that
I like that
environment.
natural look.
Yeah.
But again, this was fun because I got to go back to a lot of my scenic shooting background, like with these shots and stuff like that.
Right, beautiful, nicely framed. That's
the
beautiful.
aerials here weren't me, but everything else was.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah, so, but this was fun because I got to do a lot of different interview setups. There's that, I mean, none of them are on screen for that long, but, they also have a pretty big impact, just like how they look on, like, the perceived quality of, the video. So
sure.
This one here was just light bounced back on him, sunlight with backlight. Really, really basic setups. But the camera I was using too was one where I knew the dynamic range.
And what kind of camera did you use?
This is the Blackmagic Ursa Mini 4.6K.
Okay.
It's one of my favorite. I own it. It's just a really nice cinema camera that produces really good quality images. I really like it. So. That setup there with that guy and all those silver barrels, that was all natural light except for his backlight. So he was actually keyed with light bouncing in from outside.
Wow.
So
see, I love the bravery of that. I love the bravery of that.
Yeah, that's just the key there on the right side is just there's this big bay door.
See, that's
and this is the one we were just looking at here.
Yep, we saw that.
Lots of diffusion and lots of lighting there.
And this is more of a very industrial look right there.
Yeah. So this was a lot of fun, and I was just really happy with how it came out. Greg, he directed and edited the piece, and he did a good job editing. I was really happy with how it turned out. Our aerial photographer did a really great job too. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, even with this, which is like a relatively small shoot, there's still a lot of different.
But this is a real high production value here,
Yeah.
and not much. When I say not much money, you didn't have to go get a 10-ton electric, 10-ton grip.
Nope.
You know what I mean?
We were running around with like photography discs, like the little 3-in-1 reflector discs outside.
Don't embarrass me right now.
I know. I'm sorry. And then we had like the LED lights that I owned, and then the LED lights that the director owned, and just kind of running around with that. We had like some 216 diffusion, some basic material like that. But really, like, after you have enough experience lighting and you know how to think about light, you know how light behaves.
Yeah.
You don't need the fancy tools. You just need to know, like, this piece of diffusion.
First, you use your knowledge and you put the subject in the best possible place you can, using the natural light and everything you have available to you.
Yeah, I mean just that little quick montage there. I mean, you lose my train of thought. Yeah, that one I used literally every single light we had just to key her because
because
we wanted
you were
to see
fighting
outside
everything.
of the windows.
Yep.
And so it was a challenge to light.
You know what? If you or a lot of shoots like mine, is they forget to tell you there's going to be a lot of windows, and they want to see out of the window.
Yeah.
And they think that's as simple as anything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for that one, it was all about just letting in as much light as I could from outside, using the sun as much as I could, and then trying to boost that a little bit with my own lights, and then again the dynamic range of my camera.
But this is really nice stuff. So, this is really clean. It's very appealing. Very appealing.
Yeah.
Do we have another one there, Sean?
Yeah, we can go ahead and move on. This
this.
one's pretty much all.
I know a lot about the Burbank.
Oh, here we go.
range.
So this is just a highlight reel of something I shot in Dallas with Life Together.
Okay.
This was with that church's worship band, and we were
Yeah.
producing 6 worship music videos. 7, actually. We shot them all,
Oh, so
in
it's
one
all
day.
music videos. 7
Yeah.
music videos in one day.
In one day, yeah. So we lit it. I had 4 cameras I was switching between. So I was directing 4 different camera operators. And yeah, we just kind of blazed through the band performing the songs. And I lit this with 3 lights, a M18 with full CTO, and kind of a soft source for fill through a 12 by, and then, actually, was that it? Oh, and then there was like a Joker 800 way back there to splash a little bit of light on the keys.
Great.
But yeah, we just kind of, I tried to go for a pretty extreme look on this one. So
Yeah, no, it looks great. I think it looks great,
It was
and that's
fun.
good. That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah, it looks very commercial.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean that in a good way,
Cool,
too.
thanks.
You know.
The company
Yeah,
got
and this
started
is
back
an
in
industrial,
2002.
like corporate video I shot for Monoprice. Just
Okay.
a little, again, this is just me and a guy, and running around shooting a bunch of book light interviews for a day.
Sure, sure.
But
I noticed on that last one there was no back edge on him or anything.
he did have it just on
Oh,
that
he did
close up.
have-
You
oh,
don't see it
okay.
too much. Yeah.
Okay, I see a little bit
Yeah,
there.
uh-huh.
Certainly there's a hairline on him and stuff.
Yeah,
too.
and this one, like we shot, like all of the I shot 2 interviews in that room, and that was about changing up the background a little bit in order to give them different looks. And it was a small room, and I needed to create contrast between the foreground and the background. So it's lighting with tungsten, and then all the backlight and all that stuff was daylight.
Yeah.
White balance the cameras for tungsten, so that
So you
wall
get that
looks
real
blue.
blue look. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's just
Yeah.
like that's just the tech look.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
So
no, it
that's
is. It is.
Yeah, but yeah.
I don't know how we're going to light it, but it's going to be blue.
I know, it's true. Yeah, and then actually all these product shots I shot, this was all just daylight balanced lights with my camera balanced 3200s.
3200,
Giving it all
okay.
blue. So
And there's a whole 2 shows in itself. Anything
Yeah.
does to do with product.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and those were kind of fun. I was just kind of messing around trying to make them look tech.
Make
so.
them look good. Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
No.
and we can probably scrub through this one a little bit. It's got a lot. Or, yeah, we can just move on. So this
Yeah,
is the
let's see
Toronto
another
stuff.
one.
We were talking about this, and we shot 2 days, 4 different locations each day.
Okay.
So we had 4 company moves every day going to different churches, and I was trying to highlight the natural look and feel of every church. And most of the time we ended up, even in this place, using up the gaffer's like 4x4 homemade light.
Yeah.
Just because it had such a nice natural look to it. But I was we shot on Cook Anamorphics, you know, so I was getting this great big field of view. I was trying
Yeah.
to show off the locations as much as I could. And this is a super short highlight, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
What else have we got here?
I think I've got one more music shoot for Life Together in here, which is a totally different vibe than the one we just watched. And that's using that's the documentary I just edited.
Oh, okay.
But we can move on to the next one.
What is this? What was this documentary?
Right. Well, this is one of the first jobs I got actually when I not graduated.
But when you got out of
yeah, when I quit my old job.
Yeah.
And it's about a priest in Rwanda who's bringing victims and perpetrators of the genocide together.
Okay.
And reconciling them.
Oh, wow.
So his
very emotional piece.
It is. His message is basically that the perpetrators need to ask for forgiveness and the victims need to forgive.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty
pretty heavy.
So this is another music shoot for Life Together, and for this this was a lot of fun. I was able to use some of the churches like weird color stage lights. So just kind of a whole different look.
This is really great, buddy. This is really great. We're almost out of time. I think we're good with the reels. But great stuff, great stuff. How does somebody get a hold of William?
You can go to my website, no one says that anymore. You can go to my website, williamhellmuth.com, HELLMUTH. You can see how to spell my name down there, and that's it. And that has all my contact info on there, my reel, some of my work, all that stuff. So
that's so awesome. Thank you so much,
Thank
William.
you.
I really appreciate you coming out today and being on it. I'm glad to get you. I know I've tried a couple other times, I think, but you were
I'm
booked.
just so busy.
Yeah, that's great. That's a good thing. So listen, William, thank you, and we'll be seeing a lot more of you, I'm sure. And thank you for being on Onset University, too. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
All right. And we will see you next week at 2 o'clock Friday on Burnie's Applebox. Cut. That's a wrap.